So before I start this video, I want to let you guys know that I am working on that part 2 of the Booktube video. It's been kind of a rocky couple of weeks. I'm still not going to be able to upload weekly like I want to. I want to go back to the in-person videos, but I kind of want to wait until I get a better camera. I'm hoping later this fall, but I might just keep with the voiceovers because personally, I prefer making those. Anyway, I value quality over quantity, and while I want to believe I can go back to just sitting in front of the camera doing simple reviews, it's not enough for me. I always want to delve deeper. I'm rewriting and editing my scripts like I would a novel because there's always something that needs to be expanded on more, explained better, or just researched more. And being the YouTuber that I am and the videos I want to make, this requires patience. Books come first, and I aim to meet my goal with writing every day because if I'm not writing, then what am I even doing here? For now, this means sacrificing the work for my YouTube videos. I'm just hoping that you guys will bear with me on this until I get things straightened out. The algorithm might not be on my side, but I know what I want for my channel, and I would rather create a 20 to 30 minute video that's worth the wait rather than a bunch of piddly ones that make no sense and make me question what I'm even doing with my life. I watched Raya and the Last Dragon a while ago, and I thought it was beautiful. The animation, the characters, even the overused diversity checkmark Entertainment likes to throw around actually makes sense for the story. There was a purpose and a reason for everything, except for the dragon, but I'll get into that later. There was so much that could have been in this movie. The world created was breathtaking. The characters were complex and diverse, each with their own internal conflict that ties into the story. Interestingly enough, though divided, these people were still united through an overarching conflict that makes for the movie's theme. It's just that theme and the message was missing an important component, and I think this is why Raya lost a great opportunity.
Listen to me when I say they will never go away. Run, run. Welcome to the jungle.
The movie was released in a time of strife, in a time where people were tearing each other apart, fighting all the time, bitter all the time because of COVID and politics and everything that just made everyone resentful and hateful.
Let's start a riot! Let's start a riot!
2020 was a dumpster fire, and Raya could have been a great escape and a great message that everyone needed to hear. I mean, how do you fuck this up? Somehow they managed. So we're introduced to the setup via monologue at the start of the movie.
Kumandra. This is what we used to be.
Kumandra was a land united until it wasn't, and the lands were split into separate kingdoms. At the beginning, Raya's father tries to bring them together under a truce to unite again under Sisu's gemstone. Raya, in particular, doesn't know how to feel at first, but she makes friends with one of the Fang, Numari. They're getting along fine until Numari makes it clear she's only after one thing, the gemstone, and after she's cozied up enough to Raya to trust her to reveal its hiding place, she attempts to steal it via her mother's orders. The consequences were devastating. The lands were still divided, each one stealing a fragment of the gem that broke during the conflict, and the Droon came back and tore Raya's home and her father away from her. This lesson was one rooted to Raya's identity. Her naivety cost her family and her home, her future, and all that she has left for the next 6 years holding on to is that shred of hope that if she can revive Sisu and gather the stones, she can get everything back. This is a great concept for Raya's arc, and we can relate since I'm sure that we've all been betrayed at one point in our lives. But the film only goes so far to explore this, and I think that is its greatest faux pas. It likes to blame Raya for being the problem because she can't lend trust to just anyone, let alone the one person that took everything away from her. And this message is spouted by a self-righteous, arrogant little shit who never had to earn anything, let alone the trust of her siblings. Sisu is, for a lack of better term, annoying. I can get along with the quirky, naive personality. I can tolerate the terrible humor, the bad jokes, and even the chosen one stamp so obviously placed on her forehead, but this character is useless. While this movie is supposed to be about Raya's arc, there were lessons for Sisu to learn in here as well. She also gets betrayed. She openly lends her trust and almost gets killed for it. But she learns nothing through this lesson, instead proceeding to tell Raya that the problem isn't that there are untrustworthy people you need to be wary of, but that you should blindly put faith in people because you want to see that there's good. The truth is, there are plenty of people out there in the world and in this movie that do not have your best interest at heart, and this message made a lot of people upset because it likes to point the finger at the other party like politics has had a bad habit of doing lately, and say that the problem is your perspective. Isn't this a contradiction to claim that other people just need to see things your way, that everyone should automatically get the benefit of the doubt because they are like you? We are not all the same, and there are plenty of people in the world who have proven that. Maybe it shouldn't get broad-stroked as a right versus wrong or a bad versus good situation, but that's exactly what the movie does. It tells us that Raya is in the wrong, and that maybe she is somewhat to blame for her naivety, but it tries to completely undo its own character's arc for the sake of the message, and I think that that's a huge problem. I'm sure that we've all had people who have used us, or we've fallen to manipulative tactics solely for them to get what they wanted out of us. These people have proven through their actions that they are willing to do whatever it takes and step on whoever is in the way just to get what they want. They put their own self-appointed interests at the front of everything, and it is this that causes us to have a problem lending trust to those around us.
You two must be dung of brain to think you could steal Spine's dragon gem.
Gem? Who said anything about gems? We have no interest in gems. Okay, yeah, I can see how that makes me look like a liar.
Actually, I think it was the lying that made you look like a liar.
Here we get to see Raya explore all of that. She has a hard time trusting strangers from other tribes until she realizes they're all virtually the same. They've lost as much as she has. However, Numari does not fit in with these other characters.
It was foolish to trust someone from fact.
She has only gained everything and more because of her betrayal, because of what she's done.
Look around. We made all this by making smart decisions, not emotional ones.
She wasn't affected by her negative actions in a negative way. She has only gained rewards. She wasn't presented as someone who felt guilty or had any shame about what she did. It's because of these negative actions that her own tribe and family have thrived. So how can you write a character who feels sudden conviction for actions they did years ago when you first established she is the type of character to do anything to get what she wants, and then reward these actions? What is there to feel convicted about? She has made it clear from the beginning she doesn't care about Raya or anyone else. Raya was the one who lent a sympathetic ear. Her father was the one to outstretch hands and welcome out of trust for peace. It is made clear at the beginning that not everyone wants this. Not everyone cares, and sadly, this is as true in real life as it is in a Disney film. My main takeaway from this is that Disney recognizes they want to teach a certain message, but they've no idea how to do it. They want to teach kids about being united, but their version of united is the same that has divided us for so long, that people shouldn't recognize there are different perspectives, different people and tribes, and different ways of seeing the world, that we should all be the same in order for there to be peace. It's great that you don't want to lump people together in a category of good or bad, but ignoring the fact that there are people with differences out there and that there are people who are more selfish than others or who only want for themselves is a dangerous message to preach. Raya and the Last Dragon is a great version of telling versus showing, because they're always telling us that it's our problem, that we need to see people exactly as we see ourselves because everyone is just a reflection of ourselves, when that's not the case. We're more than our skin color, our background, and our gender, but this movie wants to slap the all are the same label on all of the characters by uniting them under Kumandra. They claim the reason these tribes divided in the first place is because they were all fighting over the jewel, but it's made clear at the beginning that there are exceptions to this. Raya's father wanted everyone to come back together. Most other leaders were wary of this, and Fang's leader, above all, was absolutely not interested. You're going to have people you disagree with, people who don't care about you or your family, your home, or being united as a whole. There's a reason we have walls. It's a defense mechanism we've learned to adapt because blindly trusting people we don't know often leads us to getting burned. We've had to recognize that there are different people that don't see eye to eye with us, and this is why we need to spend time time with people in order to get to know them, to find out whether or not this person is trustworthy enough for us to determine if they are friend or foe. Trust should not be free. It's something that has to be earned. Everyone has their own system for determining what makes an individual trustworthy enough, and it's being burned by those closest to us that raises our guards higher because oftentimes the cost is too high for us to do it again. So right off the bat, I could see what this movie was trying to do, and I really had hopes for it, especially when Sisu has that realization moment when she was betrayed. This should have been a great learning moment for her. The point where she realizes that trust should not be given lightly, but it's instead turned into a learning lesson not for Sisu, but for Raya. And Raya puts this to practice by choosing to trust Numari, except you missed a step. Numari isn't just some random character she's come across on her journey. She's not like the other characters who have lost everything. She's not even a stranger for Raya to give the benefit of the doubt. She has made a firm imprint on Raya's life choices through her actions, and this requires one thing in order for Raya to ever be able to trust her again: forgiveness. Never mind how shoddy Numari's arc is and how her change of heart completely contradicts what she's learned throughout her actions. This movie is about Raya. Her arc is the one that counts, and you missed the most important step in order to give trust back. Forgiveness is the real theme that's never quite expressed. I know I said that the theme needs to be subtle in your story, that the art of making it the story is to be present in a way that isn't obvious, but this movie makes their message of trust so on the nose I could feel my nose bleed, that I don't understand. How could you miss the most important step in rebuilding that trust? Forgiveness would have been the tool Raya needed to trust Numari again, however misplaced that trust would be. The end of the movie doesn't do much to justify the theme of trust as being one worth telling, and I think that's why this falls flat, though this wouldn't be the first time. I think it's ironic that Disney is the one teaching us about trust when, as Cellspecs pointed out, they love to frequent their use of twist villains. And lately, people have had an even harder time trusting Disney given its dark history, its questionable behavior towards its employees, and the representation of the company as a whole to serve the almighty dollar. But that's what made people more wary of Disney in the past few years, is its abundant use of identity politics. I mean, even Disney boasts about an all-female technical team before they get to the story. The point is that Disney loves money. They hate bad ratings, and the story-making process has become a checklist of errors to fix, especially when it comes to their classics that most agree should not be touched. Some of them are so close to the original that there's no point in their existence, while others are major rewrites that completely miss the point of the original. Like, how do you forget about your own movie? In the end, I feel like Raya could have been another Mulan. One of my favorite things about that movie growing up was her tenacity, her willingness to self-sacrifice. She didn't join to prove herself worthy or to compete against what a man could do. It had a heart, it had soul, and it had a great message. Raya is similar in a lot of ways. The turning point for her is at the beginning when she loses her family and her home. Instead of going on a mission to protect that, she's going on a mission to get it back. She has a funny dragon sidekick, makes friends along the way, and learns that what's on the surface of a person is not their true identity, that things go much deeper. Raya and the Last Dragon had the potential to be a story about family, forgiveness, and reconnection. Not just with those who have been lost, but with yourself. The calm in recognizing sometimes you need to forgive someone else for yourself more than you do for them. I hope Disney starts taking the hint, because between this, Frozen 2, and Soul, I think they're starting to forget why they've been successful for so long. Anyway, that is all I have for this time. I am currently in the middle of editing the Booktube is Problematic Part 2, so just hold on a little longer for that one. I will see you guys next time.